Hello, and welcome to Preparing to Survive and Thrive Homesteading channel with Charlie B. So, what are we having for dinner tonight? I am going to do meatloaf. My recipe this is kind of my fallback recipe, the one I always end up making. It seems like I might add a little something to it here and there, but this is what my normal meatloaf recipe is. So what I did was I took 2 pounds of ground beef. Sometimes I will take a pound of deer burger and a pound of ground beef. I take 3 eggs, and I take chopped onions, about 1 cup. It was about a medium-sized onion. We like the extra taste of the onions, and I'll tell you, this is kind of my little secret part of the recipe. I mean, I tell people what I use. Obviously, I'm putting on the video, but I use some Lipton onion soup or off-name brand onion soup, whatever I have. And this makes it really good. Plus, it has more onions in it. I like the flavor. It just seems to work, so I use it. So I use 2 packets of it. And I do a little bit of Lea and Perrin, Worcestershire sauce. I know I did not say that right. I don't measure it out. I just kind of shake it in. Yeah, I have trouble with measuring sometimes, but it works. Next item is a little bit of salt. Not a whole lot, because I can guarantee that onion soup mix has a good bit of salt. And also a salt and pepper, you can always add to it when it's on your plate if you want more salt and pepper. I'm going to just take a little bit of pepper. Sprinkle that a little bit more than I did the salt because I don't have pepper in anything else. Our next item, garlic powder. This will be yummy. Now, you can also take it and slice up your garlic, but I kind of just like to use the powder on this. Just sprinkle it everywhere. You can't overdo it with garlic, so don't get too heavy-handed. Now, a lot of people use, I've seen them use macaroni, I've seen them use breadcrumbs, crackers. What I like to do is, this is kind of a meal in itself. I take, at the very least, either a cup of minute rice, or I take half-cooked regular rice. This is half-cooked regular rice. And what I do is I only cook it for like maybe 10 minutes. And then I take at least a cup. Now, I might put more in there just whenever I start to see how the mixture starts looking, when I start mixing it all together. So my little kitty cat is trying to come up and help me, and I don't want him to, so I'm going to show him my squirt bottle. Nope, I didn't squirt him, but if he jumps up here again, he will get squirted. By the way, it was Milo that was trying to get up here. I'm getting this mixed in pretty good with a fork, but my tried and true method is my hands. Yes. I'm going to wash them again just to make sure that they are clean. And let's get mixing. You can see everything's just mixing nicely in. It looks like we do have a nice amount of rice at the moment in there. So when I put this on the plate, I literally have 1 scoop or a cake turner full of a meal, because it includes your rice. The rice is only half cooked, so it will absorb some of the juices that will be coming off the meat. Make sure if you're using regular rice to cook it at least halfway. If you cook it all the way, sometimes it will get a little too mushy and kind of just melt into the meatloaf. I've seen some people take a bite and taste the raw meat. I can't stomach that. Not with hamburger. Steak's one thing, but not hamburger. Now this will go in the oven. And yes, this is a lot for a family of 3 adults, but this will be for lunch tomorrow. And I'll also probably make some spaghetti sauce with this extra meatloaf, or I'll chop it up and make tacos with the extra meatloaf. It will not go to waste, never does. Food is way too expensive to let it go to waste. So if you're trying to do more grains or more vegetables or stuff like that, you can add more different items to this and cut your meat down. I've done, it was rice, but it was cauliflower rice. I've done that before. It just kind of disintegrated in, so I decided to just stick with my regular rice. Okay, so that's all mixed together. Cats are all very interested in what I'm making tonight for dinner. So, I'll be right back. Okay, where was I before I got interrupted by a cat? I normally put this in the oven at 375 for about an hour to an hour and a half. You could make up this recipe and freeze half of it, and then you could just plop out your meatloaf and thaw it out and put it in the oven. It would save you a little bit of prep time. It doesn't take me very long to prep, maybe a half hour tops. So we're going to get this into a baking dish. Now I'm going to cook this in my wood and pellet stove instead of using my propane gas stove, because I like to save fuel whenever, and if I've already got my stove up to heat and the oven is already doing really nice, it's very hot. It's at about 400, but as soon as I open up the oven door, it will drop. Clean this all out. So this is what we have. Now I take this, I make sure it's not up against the sides. Get it all together here, and then I just make a crevice in the center. Let me wash my hands again. I do a lot of hand washing. Yeah, I'm bouncing around like a crazy person, aren't I? So I take a little ketchup and I just squirt it out just like this. Make a little design on my meatloaf. Now, I know a lot of people do that. Restaurants do that. Sometimes they'll cake the whole top of the meatloaf in tomato sauce or ketchup. Well, they can do it with tomato sauce too. But I actually do something a little different. I add a little extra taste to it. Let me find my can opener here. Okay, I'm back. Does it make you hungry sitting here staring out at meatloaf even though it's not cooked? Wishing you were having this for dinner? Well, I know it does me when I watch cooking shows. I have homemade salsa I made this year. If you have not seen my video on salsa, please take a look at it. It was a lot harder to make salsa than I would have ever realized. With this, I just scoop out. Make sure I'm not touching the meat whenever I'm scraping it across. And I just kind of fill that crevice in with some salsa. Maybe spread a little bit of it out there. This gives it a really good taste. It adds a little something to it. The salsa it's delicious. Okay. So this is what it looks like when it's going to go in. I'm going to get the lid on it. And we'll be right back when I take it to the oven. So we're out here at my pellet wood cook stove, and since I got the meatloaf in here, I'm going to add 1 cup, well, about 1 cup, just enough to fill the bottom of this up. So it was about 1 cup, not quite. I could have probably added a little less, but I didn't. Here, I'll bring this over so you can actually see how much water I put in it. Got a really good fire going. And that is my little Yorkie. His name is Little Mister. He needs a bath, but that's all right. We'll get one tomorrow when it's not raining and yucky out. And let's get this thing in the oven. Okay, we're gonna get this in the oven. Oven is about at 375, so I need to get this in fast so I don't end up dropping the temperature too much. It's very hot. Very, very, very hot. So we're gonna put that right in there. Get the oven shut up. And if you heard me do a review on this, you know that my oven door does not shut real good when it's hot. So bear with me, I'm crossing in front of you. I literally use one of these giant forks, and I just put it right down here. I know, don't laugh, but it works. And we're using what we're making our heat with, our hot water with, to cook our food in our oven. So we'll be back when it's done. So I'm gonna pull the meatloaf out of the oven. Let me grab some of these hot holders. It's gonna be very, very hot. It's been in there for an hour. I set my timer. And the temperature has been fluctuating between 350 and 400 in this stove. So it's a good thing. But it's pretty much done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lid off and put it back in there for another maybe 30 minutes, just to make sure it's good and done, and to put a little bit of crust on the top. Not really crust, just to make it a little brown. That's 1 hour. But with the stove not exactly keeping the same exact temperature all the time, doesn't always lend to the exact time. If it was in my gas stove, 375 for about 90 minutes. Be back shortly. Okay, so it's been in for another 30 minutes, so I'll make 90 minutes in total. And like I said, the temperature has ranged anywhere from 350 to 400, maybe even a little bit higher. But here we go, let's pull it out. Oh, it's hot. Oh, that looks pretty perfect. Try not to burn myself. I'm going to pull out the whole pan with me, or the whole oven rack. Well, there you go. This is what we have. So let's go out to the other kitchen. Well, here it is. It's out. It's cooled down. I let it sit for a couple minutes just to cool it off so I could actually get something in it. I usually cut it in half just to make sure it's done. And yes, it is very done. Let me move some other stuff here. That pan is very hot. So we're going to use the plate to move it. And I'm going to take the end off here and dip it out. And you can see what it looks like. It's steaming. It's hot. There's a little bit of rice in there. So we got our meat, our rice, and we even have some veggies up on top. So this could actually be a whole meal, but I'm going to do some broccoli salad, some carrots, and some kiwi to go with this. So there's my plate. But we're just going to have a bite of the star of the show, my meatloaf. It's very hot. Good as always. So if you wanted to, you could also put a little bit of salsa on top of it while you're eating it, or ketchup, or whatever else you want to do. The sky's the limit. It's meatloaf. So remember, if you like my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Charlie B, signing out.